The first big event that I would deem for new format, the Chaliceslime, for the last day, actually the first day now of August, is here. And if I told you that Sprite was the most represented deck, would you be surprised? Don't make the 30% of you guys who have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can climb up the 100K ladder here. Your breakdown for the whole event here had Sprite at 25% of your playing field, ladies and gentlemen. Is anybody just massively surprised about that? Because that is so very, very interesting to me. That in terms of your ratio, your overall percentile, that's set. And then tier elements smashed it on in here and said, you know what, we're going to show the world that we're going to be the second best represented deck. And then we had what, Mathemech at 6%. Yeah, Mathemech is really catching me off guard as well. Like the fact that this deck is just having such a high representation for all these events, so very, very interesting. And then you had what, Plant at 5%, 4% Exosister, 4% Phantom Knight, 2% Flunderer, and then you have 38% other decks in terms of representation for this. That seems pretty diverse for what I would say here. Anyway, pass on into your top cut here. Tier Elements ended up being the highest represented deck within top 16 for this event, which proves that, hey, you know what? 25% of your top cut was the new fancy stuff. And you also had 3 Sprite decks passing on in the top cut as well. Now, the scary thing about this top cut was there were 3 Mathemech decks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, out of nowhere here, you see the power that Mathemech still has going for it. Then you get into like your Rogue section here, where you have 1 Flonderies, 1 Salamangreat, 1 ABC Thurion, a Dinomorphia. You had a Zombie Punk deck as well, and the roguiest of rogues here. You also had a Fluffle deck scratch on into the surface here. Yes, and not a single Morphtronic FTK deck made it, so you can stop worrying about that deck ruining things. So we're going to pass on over to the top deck profiles now. Winning the Chaliceslime Monthly was none other than actual, tier elements. I'm actually glad to see that this deck was able to kind of step up and do its job here. From what I was told, this deck ended up winning, what was it, in 10 minutes, 2-0ing Sprite in the final. So that's not quite an impressive feat, like in terms of development for our format. I don't know, man. I think a lot of players are definitely going to look at this deck. It also proves that, once again, that King of the Swamp here might be the thing. But yeah, if you're looking at wanting to play tier elements, I think this is a very good base point here. Hi, Super Poly Target. It's already affecting the format. Next up here is Sprite. Now, honestly, looking at this deck on paper, this is probably going to be one of the best builds. I've already heard people go, I don't want to play Artemis Slave in my deck. Well, you know, you might want to reconsider that here, because I think that this really does make this deck look a lot better. Just pulling this together, 41 cards, hand trap ratio is fine. And look, it's Hulk. People told me they weren't going to play Hulk in this deck. Literal crazy people out here. All right, next up here is Mathemech. There's a lot of Mathemech from this event that you saw here. Now, this build is playing Small World to try to bridge the gap in terms of searchability. Oh my gosh, Link in for a flyer here, getting the chance to get some love. 2 Super Factorial with the 1 equation has been the go-to method of this. Is that the Arrival adding Nestor in the side deck? That is actually crazy to me that you could see this guy right here actually getting the chance to see play outside of his own archetype. Very, very interesting. Next up here is Dinomorphia. This deck crawled all the way up from the depths of the format. Now that things have kind of spiced up a little bit here, you know, Floodgate generation decks such as this are definitely going to be a lot stronger now. So if you're, you know, looking at like the way that things are shaping up right now, yeah, give, you know, some consideration to these bad boys right here. I know some decks can play around them, but that's fine, because not all decks are created equally in the grand scheme of Yu-Gi-Oh! You love to see it. Next up here is our Sprite Paleozoic deck. I didn't think anybody would be crazy enough out here to do this, but when you have, you know, more than 1 toad available to you, then of course Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are going to take advantage of that, because it's almost kind of criminal not to. And then of course, you know, standby phase, especially some of the Dupe Frog, laugh at your opponents, they can't attack over the toad, and then the toad's fully loaded up for protection. Ah, man. This really is the definition of things that you love to see for 500. All right. Oh, it's another Sprite deck. This one's 40 cards this time. See, we got the DD Crows in here. We're playing the one Sprite Red, the one Sprite Carrot. In terms of development, this looks pretty good on paper. Oh, we have Deck Devi in here as well. And of course, there's the Virus Swordsman. I don't know if you guys have seen a lot of the trends out of the OCG, but, you know, they'll bring in the Virus Swordsman. It's a link too that you can literally, you know, Deck Devi off and then laugh at your opponent. So it does very, very, very huge wonders for the modern era format. All right, next up here, we have our next Tier Elements list here. Oh gosh, this is like with a mini hero package? Are we just doing all of this just so we can make the DP? No Fusion Destinies in here. I guess if we hit one of these off of the dumping, or whatever we're trying to do with these. We're also playing Supreme Sea Mare. This card's normal special. Send an Aqua Monster from your deck to the graveyard. During your end phase, you contribute this card, target one Aqua Monster in your graveyard, except for add it to your hand. Okay, that's actually pretty awesome tech. All right. And then our last top list here is Tier Elements with a Punk Engine. Oh man, I remember people telling me that nobody would be crazy enough to do this when we saw this out of the last Zodiac tournament, but you really do love to see this. This is the power that this package gives. Just so you can make this card. This card says mill 5 cards from the top of your deck. I don't know if you put 1 and 1 together for 1 on a bun yet, but triggering all of these feels really, really solid. Top 16 here. Flunder. I haven't seen you in a while. How are you, Harpy Harpist? I'm glad to see you doing your thing. We got the Mystical of the Mines out here, so unfortunately this deck did not, like, get a super high placement, but it's good. And then, of course, there's Garura. You know, Konami really did good when they designed this card. They really just said, hey, yo, you want a super poly target? Or you want to drop 1 off of Artemis Slay? Or, you know, just the free chicken tendies that it gives to you? Sure, man. Once again, you love to see it. ABC Regulus Therion.60 card.exe with the Scythe package. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about just having an unfun time for your opponent? Well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. You want to just... I don't know what else to say about this. Like, this is literally the pile that worked out. Like, you took Based, you took ABC, and you shoved it together. Now you have a pineapple apple pen. Alright, next up here is another Mathmech deck. So, our other 2 Mathmech decks ended up in the top 16 here. Maybe they couldn't quite finish the job, but honestly, this card really does a lot. I don't know if a lot of people are going to be able to accurately side for this, and it's actually really sad because, you know, like, the climbing potential for this, the OTK machine here is really good. I also think this is the first list I've seen only playing 1 Super Factorial, even though it is now searchable, but I don't know, it feels... I like 2 a lot. Next up here is our next list, and then, of course, we have 1 Squamata with 1 Genius and the 1 Beast. I have not seen anybody out here exploring Genius just yet. It's almost kind of genius. Oh my god, we're playing Fiend Comedian too? Okay. Sure, man. This is just, oh my gosh, during your opponent's turn, just triggering this, getting this off, and then just making, like, your entire arsenal of things here. That seems really interesting at the end of the day. Next up here is Fluffle. Holy crap, it did it. The Sacred Fluffle deck made it. Now remember, we've seen Royal Penguins Garden here get the chance to kind of capitalize because, you know, Fluffle Penguin does in fact have penguin in its name. So when you can basically turn a searcher into one of your better option trees for this deck, I think that's very important to definitely give some consideration to. But finally, and of course you have Scythelock in it, so I mean, hey, whale into Scythelock seems pretty good. Next up here is our Salamangreat deck with the Brave package. Wow, I'm actually glad to see that the Brave package survived this tournament. It's almost like this entire tournament, this engine has been so far behind, it's crazy. I'm glad to see Gnome down here also got the chance to show up. Technically, if your opponent starts like Sprite combo and they don't have enough gas and you just Gnome them, I don't think they're going to get the chance to really come back from that. Like, how much extending capabilities can they actually open? Who knows? Next up here is our other Mathmech list. Once again, 1 Super Factorial. I'm glad to see that Cynet Conflict has kind of found its way into the Mathmech deck as like an option tree, but I don't know. I'm glad to see Final Sigma is also seeing play. I'll see we're playing Lady D-Book here. I mean, technically this does tutor for any of your like pieces that you need for level 3 or lower, but nonetheless, it's it gets this. This is why you care. Like, just being able to one card start combo seems really good to me. And last but not least here, we're playing one Thunder King. What is this? This is a zombie punk deck with, okay, so we have the zombie worlds in here. We have the Shinobi Necro, of course. We have like synchro plays in here to make Red Eye Zombie Lord Dragon and the Immortal Dragon, but like, huh? Also, Thunder King Ryo in here definitely has me a little bit on curiousness. So that is your chunk of decks for you guys today. What do you guys think for this breakdown? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.